The US election always makes history. There's no escaping that, but it'll be especially so this week. Either America for the first time will elect a woman as president. If woman is not too much of a binary term these days, I hope I didn't trigger anyone. Kamala Harris, if she did nothing else, would stand forever as an historically significant figure for that reason alone. They might give her the Nobel Peace Prize for being elected, just like they did with Barack Obama. On the other hand, if Donald Trump wins, he'll be only the second president to serve a term and lose and then come back to win a second term. That hasn't been done since Grover Cleveland in 1892. The polling indicates this will be tight. It might come all the way down to just one state, Pennsylvania. We'll see. Harris's campaign has been all about style over substance, avoiding scrutiny, avoiding issues and allowing the party machinery to do the job of demonising and defeating Donald Trump. It might work because it did last time. So to that extent, Harris is a boring candidate, little more than a figurehead for a political machine. Trump, of course, is the opposite. He dominates the political machinery. He backs his own instincts. He loves a fight and he offends all of the media and the political establishment. And he's been at it again.
To get me, somebody would have to shoot through the fake news. And I don't mind that so much, because I don't mind.
Look, I hate this sort of violent imagery, as many of you do, but I just want to highlight how the real genius of Trump is the way he uses outrage to shape the mainstream media, who, as you'd realise, tend to never run anything positive about him or highlight the issues he wants to focus on. There was a classic case last week when Trump said this about former Republican Liz Cheney.
She's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it. You know, when the guns are trained on her face.
Now, Trump is clearly branding her a warmonger, saying it's easy to be a warmonger when you won't face any action yourself. But I reckon he uses the outrageous language deliberately to get attention onto that issue. If he just called her a warmonger, there's no way the mainstream media would bother covering it. But because of his language, they froth with outrage and slam him, but they have to run the grab. And he then gets to make his key political point to a broader political audience. Look at them spread this message while they condemn him.
Yesterday, during a fireside chat with Tucker Carlson, though, he used violent language and imagery, suggesting former GOP Congresswoman Liz Cheney should have guns pointed at her face. Listen.
His daughter is a very dumb individual, very dumb. She's a radical war hawk.
During the event in Arizona, not only did Trump call President Joe Biden a stupid bastard and Vice President Kamala Harris, quote, a sleaze bag, in true autocratic fashion, he took it even further, openly fantasizing about violent retribution against one of his political opponents, former Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney.
Trump calls for Cheney execution.
Yeah.
And he says that she should have 9 guns trained at her face. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her. Firing squad, obviously.
Yeah, and their reaction just overstates the case and gets people back onto Trump, doesn't it? I think it was a similar strategy back during the debates when Trump referred to social media memes about Haitian immigrants.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
Again, Trump wants to talk about immigration. He wants to talk about communities facing crime and social pressures because of uncontrolled immigration. But the mainstream media goes out of its way so often to avoid those issues. So Trump, again, had them attacking him, but they end up talking about immigration and trouble in some communities. He got them onto his issues again. Whether it's exposing media bias, pushing an isolationist agenda against foreign wars, or the lack of border security and uncontrolled immigration, Trump uses outrage as a political tool. Trump's mainstream media critics love condemning him. They've done it for a decade, but he's the master of directing them to cover issues they'd rather ignore. This is part of the unique political genius of Donald Trump. We'll know in a couple of days whether it's enough for him to win another term in the White House.